All right, YouTubers and motorcycle enthusiasts, this video is for the DIYer that is not trying to do a perfect job, basically trying to do a cheap body repairs on a motorcycle. My motorcycle happens to be a 2013 ZX6R, which was bought in November of 2022. It's now April of 2023, so I had it for a little bit over a year. When I bought it, I'm showing you the repaired damage area that was really an eyesore. This whole area was all scratched up and broken. You could tell here. So this is a quick repair. This is not a brand new body panel. These body panels are very expensive. At least a few $100s per panel. And you replace these body panels, all of them, and you're talking about basically a motorcycle. So it's not cheap. So I decided to try to do these repairs myself. I used some tie wraps, drilled a couple holes because the support for this bottom panel was broken. So I jimmy rigged it with some tie wraps, and it seems to be holding up pretty well. You can see the scrapes. This was all scraped up. I did a quick repair job. That was my first body repair work, and I basically just used a paint pen, ColorRite paint pen, which I'm going to show you in a second. I had a couple of scratches on here that I recently did. I dropped it on this side. It was a very light, and I got a couple of little scratches, which you can barely see. There was one here, and maybe a couple of here. And then those other scratches you see, those are from the previous owner, like I said, that I repaired. And there's one mark here that I didn't touch, right there on the, I'm not sure if that's a alternator cover or crankcase cover, what that is, but there's a nice little scratch there that I didn't touch. Then, so I did that just a few minutes ago while I am doing a repair on a dent. This was a small little accident I had recently, or not, well, at the end of the year last year. So basically when the riding season was over, I dropped it. Small little wipeout, and but it made a good dent on my tank. And rather than buying a new tank, I'm not sure how much a new tank would be, $1,000 or $600 or some crazy amount of money. Plus I got an estimate to prepare this from a body guy for $600. So I just decided to do my best. And this is the primer. The primer looks really bad, rough. I'm surprised because it was really a smooth surface. And so I'm going to use a 1000 grit sandpaper, which the instructions for the 1000 grit sandpaper say to soak it in water. So I'm soaking it in water. Again, per the instructions of Clear Coat right here. Per these instructions, right there. If sanding is necessary, allow 3 to 4 hours drying time. So that's what I'm doing right now, is allowing 3 to 4 hours of drying time. And while I was allowing that drying time, I decided to touch up some of these other areas in the meantime to get this all done, so that the body work for this year is completed and I can have a nice riding season, hopefully with no events like these. So I'm getting ready to start. I've sanded this with 80, 220, and 1000 grit. I've sanded these areas down, cleaned them up and sanded them. And I'm not going to use a primer, which is what the manufacturer of the paint says, because these are small areas and I'm not painting the whole panel. I don't have a spray booth. I'm just using a touch-up pen. This is the touch-up pen. This little touch-up pen from ColorRite. OEM color. And then after that, I'll touch it up with this clear coat. And again, looking at the instructions here for the clear coat, I found it very interesting that it must be applied within 12 hours. So the clear coat has to be applied within 12 hours. So I'm getting ready to start. I'm getting ready to put some paint on with the paint pen. So I was using it a little while ago. I shook it up for a minute. And since we're live here, I'm only gonna shake it up for a couple of seconds. And then I'm gonna start trying to do a one-handed touch-up paint job. I'll probably just touch it up a little bit, give you an idea of what I'm doing, and then that'll be the end of the video. This is the primer. I grabbed the wrong one. I grabbed the primer. So let me close that back up. One-handed operation. I used to have a really nice camera. I gotta replace it. I haven't gotten there yet. I guess it goes back to what I said earlier about a cheap DIYer. I'm being a cheap DIYer and making the best with what I have. I will be getting a camera, a regular camera. But for now, my phone will have to do, and it's actually pretty good. I've actually been a little surprised at the quality of videos that I've been able to get out of this camera. Okay, so now, my paint pen, I'm gonna dab it. Maybe not. Let's just put it on. So like I said, this isn't gonna be a perfect job. But if it comes out like the other side, unless you look at it really closely, you won't be able to hardly tell that I dropped it here. Unless you look at it closely. Definitely not from a distance. You won't be able to tell. So it seems like it's getting a little dry. So I'm gonna close it up, shake it, and dab it on my test panel. The instructions talk about using a test panel to verify that the colors match with the OEM color. I'm not so sure about that idea, since even my test panel is a different material than my ABS body panel. So I'm not exactly sure. I'll show you what I'm doing here. Just getting a little ink on the tip. Maybe a lot of ink on the tip. Come back over here. Where is it? Right there. Touch this area up. It's just a quick job, quick repair job. And cheap is relative. These pens are kind of expensive. I think this pen was about 30 bucks. I'm not sure. I bought it like a year ago. Might have been more. Maybe a little cheaper, I don't know. But to me, that's not really cheap for a little pen. Little paint pen. Then again, that might give you an idea of how cheap I am. Can be. If you could see what I was doing. I hope this video comes out okay. And I hope that if it is useful for you, which is what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to share information to help you in your projects have more success. Maybe even just take on the project. You can see that it's really not so bad. I'm gonna get a little more out, a little more ink. Seems like it's getting a little dry. And it looks like got a big area coming. This area here. I didn't use the sandpaper on the previous job that I showed you on the left side of the bike. This is the right side of the bike. This time I used a lot more sandpapers to get the scratches down smoother so that they wouldn't be as noticeable. So I'm hoping that the final product is better than even what I had in my last little repair job. Okay, I can keep going, but rather than subject you to that, just watching me painting with this paint pen, I'm just going to cut it off here in a second. So you see me, I'm retouching up some of the areas that I did. So that way, when it dries in another 12 hours or so, I could just put a clear coat and not be repainting again. And get done with this and enjoy a nice riding season. Enjoy a nice riding season. That's the goal. So I think with that, I'm gonna say goodbye. Again, if you find this useful, please like the video. That really helps on YouTube when people like the video. It seems like people like it, but they don't indicate that they like it. Anyways, good luck in your projects. Like I said, this is a fairly cheap, fast way of doing some body repairs that I think you will be very, very happy and pleased with when it's all said and done. Mostly because it's fast and cheap. Just takes you a little bit of time. And not even much. Good luck and take care.